Welcome, I am Ines, and this study is a collaboration between Eastern Kentucky University in the US and the Universidad de Oviedo in Spain. We collected data from children from bilingual schools in Lexington and Oviedo and investigated how these children responded to Spanish and English pseudo-homophones in a lexical decision task. There are many bilingual children learning how to read in 2 or more languages. However, we know very little of how these children process the phonology of each of their languages when reading. Over 10% of children in the United States classroom, more than 5.3 million children. Just so you have an idea, 5.3 million is the population of the whole state of South Carolina, and for our international listeners, it is the whole population of the country of Norway. That is how many children are English language learners in the United States. More than 70% of these children speak Spanish. However, it is important to recognize that there's more than 150 languages spoken in the American classroom. Despite the benefit of being exposed to a second language since early stages, children face the challenge of learning to read and write in 2 very different orthographic systems. Our study includes 156 Spanish-English bilingual children, 78 from the United States, for whom English is their strongest language, and 78 for whom Spanish is their strongest language, and they are from Spain. Each participant responded to a mouse-tracking English lexical decision task that included English and Spanish pseudo-homophones. Will the language of the task, language mode, or the participant, language dominance, have a stronger influence on the way bilingual readers process English and Spanish pseudo-homophones? Here is an example of what the mouse task looked like on our participants. In this example, we can see an English pseudo-homophone, BLOO, and you can see how the participant moves towards saying it is a word, but then actually chooses the correct answer, which is the red cross. This confusion might come because the phonology makes it look like a word, but then they realize that it's misspelled and they move to the incorrect. This figure compares the responses of Spanish children in blue and American children in maroon. The trajectories represent the mouse position during the first 2 seconds, 2000 milliseconds of the participants' responses. And we will see that the mean response to English pseudo-homophones, Spanish pseudo-homophones in words. As you can see, American children got really distracted by the English pseudo-homophones. The phonology was so strong that made them think that it was a real word. Interestingly, once they realized the word was misspelled, they corrected their trajectory very efficiently. We did not see this kind of activation though activation or inhibition taking place in Spanish children, from whom the phonology is not very strongly activated. As expected, the word condition for either group of children did not elicit any movements to an incorrect option. Gathering data from bilinguals who share their 2 languages but are from 2 different countries is an effective way to investigate the effects of language mode and language dominance on a bilingual visual word recognition. We learned that when the task is in English pseudo-homophones are more strongly interfere with participants, regardless of whether the participants were dominant in English or Spanish. Interestingly, English dominant speakers performing the task in English exhibited a strong level of activation and inhibition in both languages, indicating that the interaction of language mode and dominance influence the processing of both languages. Bilingual models should account for these interactions between language mode and dominance. Thank you very much for listening, and I hope you enjoyed.